The channel FPL Davecorp here. Today we're specifically going to learn about the FPL chips. I have a number of you that have been requesting me to go through the chips because I think ever since the inception of FPL, one thing that has been a constant is that every year the number of people that are subscribing or that are playing the game keep on increasing. And what does that mean? That actually means that on every year we have a new number of people that are joining in. I personally have been playing the game for close over 10 years now, but I do acknowledge that every year there is quite a new number of players that are coming in, and some of this information they do not have. Like I mentioned, I think in the previous streams, I had a number of colleagues who reached out to me last season and were wondering that they didn't actually know that we had double chips. So some people used actually their chips only once last season and actually lost out on quite a number of others. So we are going to go deep into all that and also go through my FPL strategy for my chips and how to proceed. First and foremost, like I mentioned, every stream I'll try to bring to you a number of mini leagues that you can take part in, one of which is the Corporate Fantasy League. The numbers for how to subscribe are there. You'll be added to a WhatsApp group where you'll be able to join an FPL community that will provide you with the banter, with the staying up to date with everything that's going on, and I promise you they'll keep you on your toes. And at the end of the day, you'll have weekly rewards, you'll have monthly rewards, you'll have head-to-head rewards. So it's quite an intriguing and wonderful game that all of you should be able to take part in. Reach out the group admin, that's the number that is showing on your screen. Reach out to him. He's called Boji Charles, and he'll be able to guide you through all the different ways to join the league, ways to earn, ways to win, and all that. So that is something that you really need to keep uh, keep on your toes as well. At least every weekend that comes up will have you intrigued and excited and looking forward to something. So first we go through the chips. We'll be having four main chips. That's what I'll mention. One of which will be the wildcard. We'll have the free hit, we'll have the bench boost, and the triple captain. Before I go deep into what each of these even means or what it does, it is important that your timing and how you use these will greatly catapult you to either winning your mini league or even going as far as winning the entire FPL. How does that happen? These are boosters, like you notice, for example, bench boost is one that has a boost on it, but all these are boosters that get to help you have an upper hand, for example, in a specific game week. But like I've mentioned, it's very critical when you play them. Sometimes patience is important. Sometimes even there is no exact, how do I call it? There's no exact formula to how you use them. So you may not go with the rest of us on when we use them and decide to use them out of like in a time when none of us is using them. And it could either work for you or it might actually completely blindside you and be the worst mistake of your life in FPL. So these are some of the critical things we need to always keep in mind. And like I mentioned, for all of these chips, we are going to have double of them this season. You have to make sure you've used at least the first bunch by January 2nd, I believe. So at the end of the year, come December, you should make sure at least you've already used the first batch of all the four chips. Then all these will be renewed come the next year for you to have a fresh round of chips. So it's important that you also keep that in mind. So we'll start with the wildcard. What does the wildcard do? What is the wildcard? The wildcard helps you to make unlimited transfers really without any points hit, because usually in FPL, whenever we take any transfer out, we take a -4 hit. But the wildcard is that boost or that card that you have that you can be able to make unlimited transfers and have no hit at all. You don't get any points deducted from you. When is the best time to use this? One of the things is that you cannot use it after game week 1. That's something you should avoid. We're all planning for game week 1. At no point should you use your wild card in game week 2. That what it usually should be planned for is actually for fixture swings, and I'll get deep into that I think when I go to my strategy. But it's better that you always plan for at least set up a team that takes you for, let's say, 1 to 4 game weeks, or 1 to 6, or even 1 to 10 game weeks. So if you do notice that there's a fixture swing for a specific number of players or a number of teams, then you can plan your wildcard so that you actually go and target the fixture swings. Also, obviously, when you have multiple injuries, one thing that we should note that we cannot avoid is injuries in football. So in the event that injuries come and you have a team whereby you cannot even line up a starting 11, So the wildcard comes in handy in such a situation. Or you have very many people that are away on international break, very many people. So these are some of the things you need to keep in mind. Next is the free hit. When should you use the free hit? What is the free hit? The free hit is basically a mini wildcard. You can be able to make a complete change of your team, no cost, no deductions to your points, but it's only for one game week. Only one, meaning when you use your free hit for this specific game week, my team will revert back to the previous team the following game week. When do we use this? Usually we prefer to use this in blank game weeks. This is in case other teams are playing in other leagues. Let's say the FA Cup is ongoing, or the Carabao Cup, or any other. So in such cases, some teams do not play, and this is when it comes in handy, because you'll pick specific players that are having games that specific weekend. You can also decide to use it in a double game week. This is when teams are playing two games. So in the event that a team that you have, a number of teams are playing two games, you can actually target those specific teams and then use your free hit so that you can put in as many double game week players as possible. Avoid using this in a normal game week. That's what I would try to emphasize. It can work. It has worked before, and it probably will work again. But during the planning, really is something that you should try to avoid in a more normal game week. By normal, I mean all your players are available. You do not have injuries. They have, yes, they may not be the hardest teams that they are playing, but they are good enough teams. So try to avoid using it in a normal game week. Next is the bench boost. With the bench boost, basically, like it mentions in the name itself, all your players in your squad will score points. That is inclusive of people on your bench. In a normal FPL game week, the points that you get on your bench are not scored, are not added unto you, unless someone is injured or someone did not play in your actual starting 11. Then someone will come off the bench, and usually it's the first person on your bench. But with the bench boost active, you get to have all the points. Your substitute keeper, your substitute defender, everyone on the bench gives you points. So this also comes in handy. Now, when you should not use it, avoid to use it if you have a weak bench. You have a bench whereby you have players who do not even are not starters. Why are you really wasting your bench boost? You have a bench whereby it's full of injured players or people that have rotation risk and are not going to start, like I've mentioned. Why are you wasting your bench boost? So we also try to keep it for when you've actually used probably your wild card and at least made sure that you've stabilized your entire team and it has starters. Then you plan. Planning is very critical in FPL. You plan so that you can be able to use a specific game week for your bench boost, well knowing that even the people on the bench will be having good fixtures, will be having a good, will be starters and will be available for that game. So those are some of the best options to use your bench boost. Lastly, I'll talk about the triple captain. And like it mentions also in the name, your captain gets to score triple points. Usually, it's important, very, very important who you select as your captain, because your captain choice can actually make or break your week. So in the event that on a normal game week, whoever you've chosen as your captain gets double points. But in the event that you've activated your triple captain, your captain gets triple points. So obviously, like I've mentioned earlier, avoid going for risky picks. That's one. Does that mean they have not worked before? They have worked before, and they'll probably will work again. I personally have used a risky pick before and it has worked, but sometimes it backfires, and most of the times it will backfire. So it's better to go for the premium strikers or premium players, people that you're sure are indeed certain that are starters, people that are on set pieces, for example, penalties. So avoid taking big risks with the triple captain. Obviously, if someone is an injury doubt and you're not sure, why are you even giving them your armband, and on top of that, making them a triple captain? And obviously, with the fixtures matter. You're seeing, for example, Bruno is playing Hull City in his first match. That's a good fixture. Is it away? Are you worried? Sometimes you even go with your hunch really to just be sure where to go. Okay, so what are the common mistakes that are being made or that have been made over time? And like I've mentioned, how you play your chips really can cost you, can make or break your season. So some of these we've talked about, I think, when I was explaining the different chips. But yes, avoid wildcarding after just one bad game week. It might look good like you're trying to save all the points you lost in the previous game week, but it's always a rash decision. One thing that I've always spoken or said on this channel is that FPL is not a race, it's a marathon, and it's about planning. All of us will always have bad game weeks, but it's about how you plan and recover from that, and you should not do rash decisions. I've talked about the hits. Try to limit your hits as much as possible. Avoid taking hits unless when necessary. I can promise you, like my last season, I think I did. I would have to check, but I think I did a maximum of 11 transfers, and most of them were not. At no point did I take a hit. So that's something that's very important. Avoid wildcarding after just one game week. It will not really make that much amends as you think. Free hitting in a normal game week is something I also mentioned. That is something that is an avoid for me. It's important that you use the free hit in specific game weeks, like I've mentioned in the previous, like I've mentioned earlier. Then obviously bench boosting with a weak bench, that's a no-brainer really. You have no reason why you're putting a bench boost active when your bench has no starters, when your bench has injured players, when your bench has flagged players. Lastly is triple captain at the wrong time. What is the wrong time, one may ask? Sometimes it's too early or too risky. Sometimes you actually know the person you're selecting is flagged or is not certain that will start. That's some other thing you should avoid. And obviously, if there is no double, because usually we target the double game weeks, like I mentioned, because yes, sometimes we've had players play one game and then miss the next game, but at least they do have a chance of playing both, compared to having just one game week and then the person probably just plays a few minutes of it and is substituted or does not even perform at all. So that is something we should completely try to avoid. Uh, Next would be my strategy. How am I going into the new season, and what is my strategy? Like I've said, patience for me is always key. Patience is key for any championship run, and that's a worldwide principle, as all of you know by now. So how will I go into this game week? This new season. My wildcard, like I plan, like I've mentioned, I'm going to build a team, or like you've seen my teams in the previous drafts. I'm building a team that should be able to take me between 4 to 6 game weeks, and I do plan to use my wildcard hopefully in game week 6, because I'll be targeting a fixture run for a number of teams. And Manchester City, Chelsea, all of those have a good fixture swing after game week 6, as we are going to look into. So that is something that I will specifically plan for that. The free hit, the bench boost, the triple captain, like I've mentioned, those will depend on a number of characters or factors that are going to guide me as the season goes on. If a blank game week does come through, because there's quite a number of tournaments that will be ongoing, I will definitely activate my free hit. In the event that we do have, for example, a double game week that is announced either before December, which is quite unlikely, but in the event that it does happen, I will actually activate my bench boost as well. And other than that, I will look at game week 11. Between 11 and 15 is a good availability for a number of games whereby both I'll have used my wild card to be able to plan, so that at least most of the team of my bench are starters, and looking at their fixtures, I can be able to use it in between them. Same applies to the triple captain. That will really depend on if I do get a very good fixture. Last season, I did use it against on Haaland, I think against Burnley, and he did score a hat trick, if I'm not mistaken. So those are some of the fixtures that I will be targeting, seeing how the teams are performing, who is on form, who is on, uh, which team is not defending the best. I then go ahead to target, for example, a specific player against them, and then be able to use my triple captain in that specific match. So, like I've mentioned, yes, game week 6 wildcard is a probability for me, because, like you'll notice, game weeks between 1 to 5 for Manchester City, Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool, Brentford, Spurs, you do notice a certain pattern. But the fixture swing, there is a great improvement between game week 6 and 11. As per each team, start even for as far as Newcastle itself. Yes, it does have an Arsenal game inside there, but it then does play Ipswich, it does play Leeds. So you do get to notice that there's a great fixture swing after 6 to 11. So you do notice why I do mention that I'll make a team that can take me through the first 4, 5, or 6 game weeks. Then on game week 6, I'll then be able to use my wild card so that I can target this fixture swing. So this is some of the analysis that you do need to look into as you plan for your game weeks, as you plan for FPL. And indeed, the data does not lie. The data does not lie, and you keep subscribe to the channel, have all the latest information, get all the latest data, so that you yourself can be able to plan how your season will go. Thank you very much. Remember to subscribe, to like, to share, and catch you next time.